Welcome everyone. This is Top Tier Tips. Greetings everyone. This is Force Signature of Top Tier Tips, and I'm welcoming you back to your prime spot for tips and tricks to help you level up with Dead or Alive 6. Alright, in this session we're going to be looking at everyone's favorite platinum hair wearing, smooth talking, finger poking, F.O.N assassin, Christie. So what is there to say about Christie? She's a bad girl who likes to hurt people. Yeah. Anyway, I'll just end up letting you know about Christie just from a bit of a general sense right now. Alright, Christie is pretty much a straight up rushdown character. Alright, I'll just say she is fast. Very fast. I mean, like, she's got the fastest jab in the game, got the fastest elbow in the game, and her 2P is not quite as good, but still though, she is a fast character. So basically, if you just to say in the most simplest sense, if you like getting in your opponent's face and pressing buttons, Christie's a good choice for you. So once you're done Christie's command training and combo challenge, then you're ready to butt fools online with Christie, right? Right? Nah, it's to take a little bit more than that to be able to dominate people with Christie online. Anyways, I'll just let you know that this guide will have a bit of overlap with my Christie guide that I ended up developing for Dead or Alive 5 last round. So feel free to check out that one too, just to be able to see how Christie will be a bit similar between like Dead or Alive 5 and Dead or Alive 6. Though this guide will also go over the kind of like new stuff with her. So anyways, let's just get down to it. Alright folks, if you're interested in playing with Christie, then I'm going to ask you these questions. Do you like rushdown? Do you like pressing buttons? Do you like evasion? Do you like disrespecting people? Do you like induce insult? If you answered yes to these questions, then Christie might be the woman for you.
Come over here.
So yeah, like I ended up mentioning earlier, Christie excels at rushdown and evasion. I mean, this girl gets buttons. I mean, oh boy, does this girl get buttons. So yeah, so if you're the like person who likes to be in control, then Christie is really fun. For this evasion that I'm alluding to, this comes from her special command sidestep called Jakeiho, also known as the Jakeiho Stance. So right here you kind of see Christie jacking off. So you can even do a little backdash here. So yeah, this is really cool, and with how good sidestep is in DOA 6, this is a really sweet stance. Another tool that Christie has is her forward roll, which has, similar to her Jakeiho Stance, has its own options out of it. Alright, I'm going to be starting at Christie from close range. In close range, what you're mainly going to be using with Christie is stuff like jabs, 6P or 6PP, 6K, 2P, H plus K, 2H plus K, some stuff, or if you want to be disrespectful, you got some 7K action right here. So yeah, but even though that's not exactly a poke. But right now, let's just get a little assistance now from the best box in the whole wide world, which should be mandatory in all fighting games in my opinion, the move details box. Like, this beautiful box right here shows you stuff like frame data. Like, this just shows how far like moves can go, like how far you are from an opponent. Like, I'm like 3 meters from my own. Like, this thing's amazing, and like your delay intervals. So that's like really cool. Even though this is not yet to determine, and I won't really like give you necessarily much of an opinion on this, but a lot of people are saying that Christie's kind of bad in DOA 6. Like, I don't know right now if it's a little early to say if like Christie's like bad or anything. I think it's just that she was really dominant in Dead or Alive 5, so I guess people kind of want her to be dominant in this. But honestly, look at that, you got a 9 frame jab, 11 frame mid, 14 frame low, you got like a high crushing like 3P, you still have your 12 frame mid, which got buffs. You can do some crazy crap off it. You still have a 13 frame 6K and a 14 frame, so 2 fast mids, which can allow for stun mix-ups. Like, look at this right now. This is just on normal hit. This is not counter hit or anything. So right now, this is her H plus K. This is one of the best tracking mids in the game. I mean, yeah, it gave you a lot more frame advantage back in Dead or Alive 5 last round, but in Dead or Alive 6, the stun durations are just reduced in general. So really, having something like this, which can guarantee your 6P, your 6PP, or like your jab string, is pretty sweet. So yes, you can still stun people and get. You can still stun people and get You can still stun people and get follow-ups, which is still really good. So for instance, if you were to stun someone with like your 6k, no, let's say more commonly like H plus K, then you can end up doing something like a PKK, then go into Jakeiho and let's say you just wanna go for like a launcher or something like that. Or if the opponent's expecting you to go for the high, then you could still go for 6 PP and you can do 6P and still go. Yeah, that move's not as good there. Like you could still go in 6 PP and go for a launcher. So right there, even with like 6k, still same thing. So that's pretty good, because I know some other characters, like including like Ione, for instance, can't get like a 6p off of her 6k or anything like that. Even though I know that they're different tools or anything, but you kind of like get the ideas. I know there was some complaints with Christie around stuff like her 7p not really like stunning on that, but that move was really freaking good in Dead or Alive 5 last round. But yeah, in close, what you're going to be doing now is having to rely on delays and free cancels. In Dead or Alive 6, Christie lost a very important tool, her back throw or 4T, and it was replaced with this. Yeah, this throw is not nearly as impressive as this. Even though 4T had a very simple animation, what it is it took Christie behind the opponent and it left her at +4 and allowed her to end up doing a mix up on the opponent. You can even just go for like another 4T and end up going behind and you end up having like a bit of a Christie, a little like Christie blender or something like that, whatever. But yeah, so now the only throw you can really pressure an opponent with Christie is her 6-6T at a wall. See, this right here is essentially her strongest throw, does about around 62 damage. And what it also does is it also leaves Christie at a considerable amount of advantage. Like right here it leaves her at +16, so with that Christie can end up like doing a lot. Like I highly recommend like going for like a guard break or some sort. But as for Christie, because she doesn't really have 4T to open up her opponents, and I'll just say right now that her lows kind of suck. Like you said, I mean, because they're all like pretty much negative on hit. Only something good is something like your Jakeiho 2K, that requires you to go on to her stance. And I will let you know that that predictably going into her Jakeiho stance, like you see right here, you can perform Jakeiho off of strings. Going into Jakeiho and trying to do something, if an opponent was smart, they can just elbow you or do like a fast like tracking move, like something like Ione's like 4P can blow up Jack so easily if you do it so predictably. So on an opponent's block, like I think I mentioned it earlier, like you have to end up using free cancels, like delays, like that's more important, because generally in this game I don't think opponents are really going to care if you get thrown by Christie. I mean, her throws can do like okay damage, but if you're not really hitting them on high counter, then it's not really like too much of a concern for the opponent. Like this one does do pretty good damage and allows you to like do something afterwards, but for opening opponents, if they're not stuffing your Jakeiho, then you can go for like a guard break. Like this is like Jakeiho 4P, or now she even got a new guard break if I'm not mistaken. As you can see, Jakeiho H plus K leaves Christie at +2, and it's a track and high. But what this thing move also does, it leaves Christie in back turn. Alright, with Christie at +2, right now you have to kind of read your opponent a bit. If you think the opponents are going to push any buttons after the +2, then you can get a free, you can like for instance get a free launch off of them. For instance, if they, let's say if they like push any sort of like button or anything, then you end up getting a free lift stun on normal hit, and it would be a launch on counter hit. So right here, that was her P plus K, the P plus K lift stun or launcher I did first. But if you use mid kick one, her H plus K, this one right here is since it's a back roll, it's a high crushing one. So if the opponent ends up like whiffing any sort of highs, then you can end up like launching them with that. Alright, a couple other options that you can go for after a blocked Jakeiho H plus K is Christie's back turn 4P. This move is a 14 frame mid punch that's only -6 on block, so you're pretty much safe, and it is track. Because you're at +2, that makes the back turn 4P a 12 frame move. And if I'm not mistaken, it has a delayable follow-up also that's -8, but as long as you use this sparingly, you hopefully shouldn't really get punished too often for it. And if I'm not mistaken, 4PP also launches. Yeah, a little juggle. Pretty cool. Here, the other option after this is, let's say the opponent's just standing there, then use trip them up with her low, which is her down 2P string like this. You see right here, you can get a +2 guard break. It'd be nice if you charge it up. And if I'm not mistaken, you can also end up doing a Jakeiho transition right there for even more mix-ups. And if you want to be a bum to your opponent, abuse this string. Alright, with the removal of Christie's 4T, so now with Christie around neutral and away from wall, you're not going to really be able to pressure with throws as much. So what you could be relying on now a bit more, apart from the aforementioned string cancels or string manipulation delays, whatever, you're now going to be relying a bit more on guard breaks. Like for instance, aside from the aforementioned like Jakeiho 4P, which gives Christie +4, or her Jakeiho H plus K, which gives her +2 plus back turn. Other guard breaks I like is like her 4P plus K right here. Like this guard break right here gives you really nice advantage. Like it should be about +10. Yes, it does. So right here, it's a 29 frame guard break that gives +10. So unless the opponent's really paying attention to you, you can occasionally sneak this in anytime they're on the defensive, and it's even more scary if you have them in a corner where you can start to implement the 660 throw also. You can also access this guard break from her forward roll, and it gives you the same advantage. And another thing also is 4P plus K is also chargeable. See, as you can see right here, when you fully charge the guard break, Christie's at +15, and with +15, see, Christie can get a guaranteed 6P string off there. You can also get guaranteed 6K. So with +15, anything that is 13 frames or faster will be guaranteed off of a fully charged 4P plus K. Another perk off of 4P plus K is that not only can you charge it, but you can also cancel into a roll. So right here, you can end up charging it, roll, and do another one. Unfortunately, the 4P plus K out of the roll is only +10, so that doesn't give you anything guaranteed, but +10 is still a lot of advantage. Here's a few other guard breaks I also like. Anything that comes out of the... that would normally be, like, for instance, the machine gun fists, which are safe on block anyway at -5. You could charge it up and get a guard, and get a +2 guard break. See, that's really handy because even if you don't fully charge it, you're still safe on block, but getting that extra +2 is always handy. And with the speed demon that Christie in your face, +2 is really all you need to pretty much counter hit almost anything your opponent will try to, well, retaliate with. Do you know something I really like also about Christie's machine gun fists? Not only are they safe on block, you can do a guard break, but you can also transition into Jakeiho. So this is for opponents that are trying maybe to do a hold mid punch. So what you do is just simply transition into Jakeiho and end up just like doing something else. Do you know what is yet another thing I love about the machine gun fists? When you actually do connect this on the opponent, look at that major advantage you get right there. Look at that, +33. I mean, with +33, you could basically just follow up with like whatever launcher, with whatever launcher you want. Here, like, check out this combo. Ah, that juicy damage. Anyways, there's a couple more other guard breaks that I think will come in handy for you. Right now, her new 9P, which I meant used to be her old quarter circle P, this input right here, which is now inputted with 9P. This guard break gives Christie a +7 and also has good low crush properties. So if you think the opponent's gonna do like a predictable low or anything like that, then you can use this to jump over them, and you can either like smack them. You can either smack them into a wall or whatever, or if it gets blocked, then you're at +7. Another guard break's also nice, comes out of her Jakeiho backdash. So if you do a Jakeiho Stance, which is normally like 2P plus K, 4/4. If you press P out of that, then you can get a +4 guard break, and as you probably guess, any frame advantage with Christie is good frame advantage. As an extra note, you could probably guess now that Christie has lost her old 9P, which is now her Fatal Rush attack. So that move comes out in 18 frames and is unsafe on block at -12. So that move used to be neutral on block, and I think came out in like 14 frames. So that move was really good back in Dead or Alive 5 or Dead or Alive 5 last round. But an interesting thing I noticed is that Christie, when she's back turn, her back turn P looks like similar to her old 9P and gives her a +1 frame advantage, which is not bad because it's now it's a 13 frame move that ends up leaving you at +1 anytime that Christie's back turn. So then, and like I said again, any frame advantage with Christie is good frame advantage. Alright guys, it's time to get our Jack on. Alright, so yes, as I said earlier, Jakeiho is Christie's special command sidestep. But I'll also let you know that there are, compared to like a normal sidestep move which only allows you just to do that, Christie's Jakeiho has quite a lot of options. Like check this out. Attacks from Jakeiho Stance. So there's a lot of crap here. Won't bother going over all of them because there's just too many, and I think in my Dead or Alive 5 last round guide, I think I probably went over most of them if not. So what I'll do is just go over some key ones for you. If you're facing a very defensive opponent who's going to be blocking a lot, and I admit for Christie you're going to have to hold the guard button a lot against her anyway, shake him up with Jakeiho 2K. Alright, this move is negative on normal hit, but if you were to connect it, let's say on counter hit, then it does leave you at light advantage. It does leave you at a bit of advantage, which is kind of cool. But the main thing about this move is that it has follow-ups like Jakeiho 2K 6K or Jakeiho 2KK, which causes a really nice stun. An option that you're going to be using pretty often with Christie out of her Jakeiho will be her Jakeiho P. As you see right there, it causes a +30 lift stun, which allows you to follow up with a nice launcher. The main thing I like about Jakeiho P, aside from the fact that it can cause a lift stun, is that it has numerous follow-ups. Right there, even ending with the low, and all the options either cause like a knockdown or cause you a nice juicy stun. So Jack P is really nice. Another thing I like about Jack P is if, for instance, you're transitioning to Jakeiho off of like a strike of some sort, like 6K, then you can end up launching the opponent for like a little combo. So that's like pretty neat. Like for instance, if you end up also like connecting something like counter hit 6P, then you can transition right into a launcher with Jakeiho 6P, which is pretty cool. Another option I like out of Christie's Jakeiho Stance is her Jakeiho 6P plus K. As you see, when it connects, it blasts the opponent across the room. It can get a wall slam and stuff like that. But the main thing I like about this move is that it's only -5 on block, so you're fully safe from punishment. So if you want to just chuck out a safe Jakeiho option, Jakeiho 6P plus K is your choice. Aside from, of course, the 2 guard breaks, which you will be using also if an opponent likes to block a lot, apart from shaking them up with this. So all of these are good options. Yet another Jakeiho option that's pretty decent is Christie's Jakeiho 6P P. This move right here is similar to Christie's new 236P close hit move, which I think a lot of characters have gotten. But with Jakeiho 6P, it comes out faster than like 6P plus K. But the downside is that it's unsafe on block whether you free cancel or use it. But the thing about it is that it's very delayable. So you can almost kind of confirm. And of course the opponent, if you just do a single one on block, you're not really going to get punished because the opponent has to respect your delays. And one other thing I also forgot, that there's also a double low out of Jakeiho 2K if you so desire to throw people off. Along with Jakeiho 6P lift stuns or launches, your alternate launcher or your high launcher from Jakeiho will be Jakeiho P plus K, which, similar to Jakeiho 6P, is also unsafe on block. and but this one is a high and it'll be your go-to high launcher, so you can get some nice juggles off of it. And now for the second part of Jack backdashing. Alright, for a Jakeiho backdash, it's simply either 8p plus K or 4p plus K, then just press 4-4. Alright, and for here you have a few options out of here. You have Jack P, which causes a knockback, or Jakeiho K, which causes a low sweep. So that's a mid punch, a low sweep, or you can also get a throw. I'll give you a heads up that Jakeiho in itself doesn't have any throws out of it, so you're gonna have to use Jakeiho backdashes in order to get your throw. I will give you a heads up that the Jakeiho backdash K is unsafe on block at about -17, though you could probably tell just by looking at it, whereas the Jakeiho P is a guard break, and of course her throw is still pretty godlike, so yeah. Another thing also is that you can do Jakeiho twice in a row, which is pretty awesome. So for instance, if the opponent tries to like retaliate with like a fast mid, like an elbow or something like that, then you could just do a double Jakeiho backdash, and you could still get options out of it. I will say right now that Christie's throw game is not really that good. Like, her throws do minuscule, they do minuscule damage. They don't really give you much advantage or anything like that. I mean, her strongest throw is half circle back T, which does about, her 12 frame throw, which does about 58 damage, which is okay, but because of the lower throw damage, opponents won't be as scared to hold against her compared to, like, let's say, like grapplers or anything like that. But for Christie's, as you can probably guess, her best throws would be, her best throw is her 6-6T at a wall, 62 damage plus 16. But her other good throw is her, any variation of either her roll-in T or like Jakeiho backdash T. She even has one off of her 2H plus K. So rest in peace, Christie's old 4T. You'll be sorely missed. Huh, but at least she still has this bad boy. Here, this roll-in throw right here gives Christie plus 21 every time it hits. However, I will give you a little heads up that it can be a little tricky to connect anything off of it due to the distance. Like, you can try like a little dash, but yeah, it is a little hard to do it. Where this throw really shines is when you end up getting someone in a corner. As you see right here, Jakeiho T ends up giving you plus 21 advantage. In open space, it's hard to really capitalize on it, but in a corner, this throw becomes really dangerous. And especially considering that you can use it off of stuff like 4P plus K. See, now you can get guaranteed follow-ups. So this throw, and especially if they're like by a wall, see, you can get like guaranteed follow-ups like that. So yeah, I mean, this throw is really good. So I like using stuff like 3P plus K. You can get like a wall slam, and you can get like a lift stun with 4K. You could do it twice for a wall slam. So yeah, you can get really creative this throw when you got your opponent backed into a quarter, where Christie is really dangerous. In general, I find that similar to Christie's throw game, I find her hold game is also nothing special. Like I'll just like show you like another hold. Like I showed her like a mid kick hold, so let's show if I show like let's say like her mid punch hold or anything like that. See, they do kind of like modest damage and like nothing special, but she does have one hold which is actually pretty neat, which is her hold off of her low punch. Relax, I am. See, with this one you can get a pretty high launch and you can do some pretty cool stuff with it. Like, check this out. And it gets even crazier under a ceiling. Alright, let's take a look at using Christie from around like mid to long range, or anywhere other than like close range. I'll say right now that Christie can indeed fight comfortably from mid range. Her 6 feet ends up going like really far. Like, you should just see how far, this move goes. See right here, it goes almost 1.7 meters, so 1.66. It was a little further in Dead or Alive 5 last round at like over, I think like 1.78, but still 1.6 is still really good for that type of move. But with Christie though, her range generally is quite good for what is essentially a rushdown character. So only characters usually with like really good rushdown, including kind of like Ayane to an extent, will be able to keep her out. So really though, for being zoned out with Christie, you generally don't have to worry about that too much. But usually what you're going to be doing when you're fighting around mid to long range or anywhere like that is trying to focus on a way to get in. One thing I really like with Christie is that her 6 PP is really good for fishing for counter hits from either from close or even from a little bit of a range. If either of the hits counter hit something, then you can end up starting the stun game and stuff like that. So other good range pokes is stuff like her 4K can cause a little stun. It's not quite as good as it was in Dead or Alive 5 last round, but H+K is still really good. Might have showed you earlier that you can end up following up with stuff whether it connects on either normal hit or counter hit. Although it can be a little riskier to use, let's say, stances at range or something that rolls, but you can try it sometimes, just try and get a reaction from your opponent, but usually you're just going to be using just general footsies, and what you're looking for is an opportunity to either poke with 2H+K, counter hit with a 6 PP, or even just closing the distance with jabs, like P. If you do like 4 Ps, yeah, I remember you can go into Jakeiho, which is also pretty cool. Christie's crush game is really good for both like high crushes and like low crushes. Her 7K doesn't wall slam anymore, but that's because it has a follow-up that does, and it has a follow-up that can switch sides. So 7K being at 12 frames is a very good interrupt. It is minus 25 on block, though. It does push back a fair bit, so the opponent will have to strike punish you as opposed to throw punish you, unless they have a throw that can reach that far. But yeah, but with 7K, this move is a nice interrupt, and now you can use it to just blast people in the corners, blast people into like danger zones or stuff like that. So yeah, so 7K is a good low crush or interrupt. I also like 9KK. Like 9K is a nice go-to like normal hit launcher, but it does have a fault that's only -7 on block. So unless you're fighting a grappler, that means most characters will only really be able to punish you with their neutral throw, which is breakable. So yeah, 9KK is a great move for punishing lows, including like low wake-up kicks. For other good crushes, I did show you on full crouch 3P. This is a 15 frame mid punch that lifts on a normal hit, and on counter hit, you could probably guess, like most lift stuns, is a launcher. But your best go-to high crush is definitely going to be 1PK. Here, this move here, the second hit can either launch or cause a lift stun. I will let you know that 1P does have pretty good range, and it on normal hit or counter hit, the first hit will be negative on hit. However, if you do hit confirm the 1P on counter hit, then it becomes a 2-on-1 combo. Yes. So if the opponent gets hit by the first part on counter hit, you always get the lift stun, which is pretty awesome. I think it's like that for a lot of characters in Dead or Alive 6, including Ayane's own 1P 2K also is a natural combo on counter hit, which is pretty cool. For a couple extra tidbits, a good low crush for Christie is her 8PP. This move does crush lows quite well, even though 2P can knock you out of the first part if you try and do it like point blank. But if you have like a little space or anything, then it can crush. This move can crush lows quite well, and does also bounce the opponent right there, and you get your little bound right here. Another thing also is her 7P, and right there you see on counter hit it still stuns. Might have showed you this move earlier. Like on normal hit, it just kind of looks like it's just slapping the opponent as opposed to causing a stun. Well, wow, Ayane's mouth opens so much. But the main thing about this move, it has a built-in side step, plus it has has follow-ups and allows you to get in a little juggle. So yeah, so 7th P is still good. It's just not crazy good like it was in Dead or Alive 5 last round. Alright guys, that's it for now. Alright, I'll just go over some stuff that you can practice with Christie. What I recommend is just the different options out of Jakeiho. You can practice also like her back dashes and stuff like that. Another thing also is practicing the strings that go into Jakeiho, like 6PP, 6K, PKK, or even KK, PPPPP, because that one, I mean, you can press 1P or 2Ps. Too many, I know, like Christie problems. How many Ps do you press? But yeah, another thing also is to practice her machine gun fist cancels. See, if you charge it, you can also get a small combo, which is kind of cool also. But yeah, it's easy. It's easy sometimes to hold it down, but you have to go into the transition if the opponent's good at holding the punch. But yeah, once you just get used to how Christie flows, then yeah, she's a beautiful character to play. She's I was just say she's amazing. But anyways, yeah, that's it for now. If you have any questions about anything else, feel free to contact me on my YouTube, Twitter, or Twitch. You can also contact me on freestepdodge.com. But yeah, if you have any immediate questions, just ask down below in the comments. But yeah, be sure also to check out my Christie guide for Dead or Alive 5 last round, which is much more extensive and goes over more stuff than even this guide does. I mean, Christie hasn't changed a huge amount, so a lot of that stuff can still apply here. But yeah, so don't forget to subscribe, leave a comment, and rate. And also, you can also check out my other guides. I just finished my Ione guide, which also gives you a nice overview of the characters. Anyways, this is Force of Nature signing off, and I'll see you next time on Top Tier Tips.